Hi, I'm Jenny Kush. You may have seen a video of me earlier with my husband, Jeremy Kush, talking about our family Bible study. And this afternoon, I'm going to be talking and encouraging you homeschooling moms about homeschooling. So, just to go over my background just a little bit more, we have 10 children. 1.5-year-old all the way up to a 20-year-old, and they all stair step in between boys, girls, and all kinds of needs. We have three special needs children, one with mild cerebral palsy, dyslexia, dysgraphia. We have one that has ADD and dysgraphia, and then another one up and coming with ADHD. So I've got a lot that I have been researching to meet the needs of my own children. I would also like to share with you a little bit of my background in education. So I am a certified public school teacher in Texas. We recently moved to Northeast Georgia, and I'm working on transferring my certification to Georgia. I'm certified 1st through 12th grade in English language arts and reading. I was a reading specialist in college, certified to teach all subjects on the elementary level, and certified to teach English as a second language, 1st through 12th grade as well. I've taught for 4.5 years in the public school system. I substitute taught at a Christian private school, and I've been on multiple levels in my teaching experience, elementary, middle school, and high school. I've also started and directed and taught at 2 co-ops. I've taught at 2 other co-ops. Again, all ages, all abilities, different children with special needs, ADHD, dyslexia, dysgraphia, special education, Asperger's, the gauntlet, basically. So all that to say, that I just wanted to encourage you moms that even after all of my special training and education and experience, there is nobody better suited to teach your child than you. And I firmly believe this. Most of what I've learned that has benefited my students in the classroom and my own children at home, whether special needs or not, has been through my own research and study. Most of my training that I received in the teacher education program and in the dyslexia training and gifted and talented training, and even English as a second language training, was severely lacking. It didn't meet the needs of the students, and for the most part was behind on the research. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that and encourage you in that regard. So if you are a mom who has a child with special needs and you are struggling with those feelings of, am I going to be able to meet their needs? How am I going to do this? This feels so overwhelming. I don't even know where to begin. Or you're feeling unqualified. You're not. The Father chose you for this time in this season, and He put those children in your care because you are the best person for that job. And He has given it to us as parents to train and raise and educate our children. And I firmly believe that all throughout His Word, that it's a teaching covenant, that we as parents have agreed to train and raise these children up in the admonition of the Lord. So I just want to give you that encouragement first, and then share a little bit about my experiences with the training. So with the dyslexia training, I was asked by my principal if I would like to go to it because my child was just diagnosed with dyslexia, and this was one of the times we were back in the schools. So I've been homeschooling on and off for about 17 years. And about 3.5 of the years that I taught were in the middle, spread out of those homeschooling years. And so one of the times we were back in the public school, I had my daughter diagnosed, and she was diagnosed with dyslexia and dysgraphia. And I had my own assumptions about that based on my training in identifying those areas. So I had her tested. My principal asked if I would like to go to the training. I went, and it was all about phonics, 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 which phonics is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm a firm believer in teaching our children phonics as a baseline for reading. The step-by-step approach works. All of my children read grade levels above their 2 to 4 reading levels above their grade level, and have throughout the years. Even my children who are struggling are on or above grade level. So phonics definitely works, but I noticed after teaching my daughter with phonics that this was not the answer to what we were struggling with. She reads beautifully, and she can read whatever you put in front of her. She rarely misses words. She's good at spelling. She has good handwriting. She loves to read. She enjoys it. All of these things are not stereotypical of children who struggle with dyslexia. And so I knew that our phonics served her well in that regard, but it wasn't enough because her comprehension was so lacking, and she really struggled to understand anything she was reading right after she just read it. And she still struggles with that to this day. So one of the things that she does to help herself is she takes notes while she's reading. And she likes to do that. But not all children like to do that. Not all children are good at doing that. And so this is one of the solutions that she has found that works for her. However, I was still researching things. She was in a pull-out program in that school where she went to a resource room where they worked with her and they did more phonics. And this was their solution to dyslexia. And it did not settle my questions. My questions were not, why do we have all these children who are damaged? Their brains don't work right. My question was more along the lines of, we know that people who struggle with dyslexia are very creative and gifted people. Steven Spielberg, and there are countless examples of people who have gone on to do great works of art who did not do well in school. And so the reality in my mind was not that their brains were damaged. It was that their brains work differently than most of our brains work. And so we need a solution to help them learn in a way that they can learn. And I found this in some of my research. And the resource that I found was called, it's a dyslexia program, Dyslexia Games, I believe is what the program is called. It's by Thinking Tree, Sarah Janice Brown. I think I'm saying her name right, Janice. The Thinking Tree is her company, and she's put the dyslexia program out available for public school use as well as private schools homeschooling. It's a series of workbooks, and it's all designed to have you do problem solving through pictures and games and finding missing parts, and it engages that side of their brain. So most of us use I'm going to get this wrong, the right side of our brain, yes, to learn to read. And so it's very processed and analytical, and step-by-step approaches work best. Most people with dyslexia or dysgraphia or some of those other learning challenges use the left side of their brain, which is more creative. And so using pictures and games and finding the missing piece and different things like that engages that side of the brain so they can learn the way their brain defaults to learning rather than the way our brain defaults to learning. And so this really resonated with me, that my child was not broken, that she could indeed learn, and that she did have strengths and giftings that were more creative. She loves to draw. She loves art. She loves crafts of any kind. She enjoys baking and singing and music. And so she needed an approach that engaged the side of the brain that she was using and defaulting to, and learning in the method that was most comfortable for her. And so that is just one of the resources that I found that worked really well for her. And I just wanted to share that with you, that you, through prayer and through study and through research and talking to other moms, can be led to the resources that work best for your child. And if you try something, which we've tried a lot of things over the years, and it just doesn't fit and it doesn't work with your family or your schedule or your routine or where you're at in life in that moment, save it for later, try it again later, toss it out, give it to somebody else and try something new. But you don't have to be tied to, we have to do things the way they do in school. We don't need to be stuck in that box. And this was something over the years that I was blown away first and foremost by any time I prayed about these challenges or struggles that I was facing with homeschooling my children. The Father was faithful to put something or someone in my path that was perfect for that time for what they needed. And the second thing that was just as valuable to me was what I called veteran homeschooling moms who had been in the trenches for years, homeschooling bunches of kids, all different ages. They've got some graduated, and I would just go and pick their brains and just soak in everything that they had to share. What curriculums were they using? What types of schedules and routines had they implemented? How were they getting anything done in their homes and chores, and how are they keeping all of their kids from, destroying the house and killing each other all day? And how are they ending up at the end of the day not being in the mom bee mode where you're like, go to bed, I'm done. And those were all things that I've struggled with over the years, and all things that I've heard other moms struggle with over the years. And I just gleaned from these women who were so willing to share. And one of my just the best advice I was given was, stop trying to recreate the box in your home. The reason why we homeschool is so that we have the freedom to pursue the interests our children are interested in, to help them learn that best suits their personality or learning style or their needs, to meet them where they're at and not worry about artificial guidelines that society has set up or the school system has set up. That we needed to be faithful with what the Father had given us and just make the most of each day, but to end the day enjoying being together as a family. And ultimately, certain things like Algebra 2 or geometry or chemistry or physics that public school says you have to have these certain things and you have to do these certain things a certain way, is just another arbitrary guideline that they have established that we don't necessarily have to fit into. And this was so freeing to me because I was very much an inside the box person, having been in school my whole life and having taught in public schools and trained by the public school system. And so it was very freeing to me to do that. And with my oldest son, I didn't do it as much. He was very interested in the study of bugs, entomology. And we did a lot with that, but I didn't incorporate it into our school. And so I was so focused on, we have to get all these school things done. And then we can do this stuff. And it was just overwhelming. And he got burnt out and eventually took a huge break from studying insects. He still enjoys it as a hobby, but he was wanting to pursue it professionally at one point, and then just got so burnt out from me pushing and pushing and pushing all these different things and expectations that I felt pressured by the world to instill on him. And so that's one thing I would encourage you to do, is just to step outside of that box and take a minute and say, what is the most important thing? And this is something the Father convicted me of years ago, is make the most important thing the most important thing. And I believe there's a concept out there now, and you can look it up, called morning baskets. And what these women have done is they have put the 3 most important things that they have to get accomplished each day, that those are the priority things, in their morning basket. And then maybe right before breakfast or during breakfast or just after breakfast, they have their morning basket time. And they do those things. And this really spoke to me because I was being convicted by the Father to do that at that time. And so that's, one of our things is studying scripture, studying Torah. That's the most important thing. We do that first. And whatever we're going to do with that day, whether it's practice our memory verse or copy it for handwriting or read more of the Torah portion, then we do that first. Our second most important thing right now is math, because all of my younger children are struggling. Well, not all of them, but some of my middles are struggling with math, especially my daughter with dysgraphia. That is the area that she is weakest in, is math. And so math is our second most important thing. We have to get math done every day. If we get nothing else done after scripture study, we have to get math done. So that's our second most important thing. And then the third thing just varies from day to day, depending, or season to season, depending on where we're at and what is most relevant. I typically keep it something like spelling, because I want to make sure we're staying on track with that, not losing a day with that. And then from there, we can do all of our other studies. And if we got those three things done, and then the washer overflowed and flooded the laundry room, true story, happened about a month ago, then we can take the day off and deal with the crisis and know that we got the most important things done first, and we got them done right away. And I can rest easy in that. The other thing that really encouraged me is not pushing for what the world says we have to do. The kids have to get these things done, and then they have to go to college, or they have to do this, or they have to do that. And we don't. That's not in scripture. Those are arbitrary standards. Now, college is great, and it's great for some kids, and it's great for what they want to do, but it's not for everyone. And so that was something I really had to relax, because it was ingrained in me from the time I was a child that you go to college, you graduate college, and you get a good job, and then, the cycle continues. And things are really shifting in our world. And so my oldest son was not a book person. He was not a school person. He did not enjoy that framework. And so we did a lot more creative and outside the box stuff, field trips and things, but I could have done more with him. But he was not going to college. He did not want to go to college. Nothing he was interested in pursuing career-wise or job-wise was needing a college degree. So we did not push that with him. There's no point in him spending tons of money, wasting time doing something he's not interested in, that he won't need for the things he wants to do later. It's much more important for him to spend the time and money and effort getting the training for the skills he needs for the jobs he's interested in, or the career path he's choosing. And that was very freeing to me as well. My oldest daughter, was interested in going to college. She wanted to do all the higher level math and the higher level sciences. And this is where a lot of moms get overwhelmed, including myself, is how am I going to teach them some of these subjects that I feel very ill-equipped in, I'm very weak in. I never even got to some of those subjects when I was in school, and I didn't need them. So how am I going to best serve my daughter who wants to take these higher level advanced sciences and upper level maths that I did not get to through high school? And this, I think, is one of the bigger challenges, homeschooling through high school. And so what I did was I started this co-op. I put out advertisements on Facebook. I found teachers, and it worked out beautifully. She had a woman come in who had homeschooled her children for something like 13 years. She had a degree in chemistry. She had a different degree in a different kind of chemistry. Her master's was in a different kind of chemistry, and loved and was passionate about chemistry. Now, my daughter was not passionate about chemistry. It was a means to an end. She wanted to go to college. She wanted to pursue possibly a medical degree, and so she needed chemistry. And so we got this teacher. This teacher was super passionate, excited about chemistry. My daughter did great in it. She would tell you that she did not do great because she got an 89, and she's typically a straight A student. But it was more advanced, and she came out of that class all excited about it, trying to convince my next oldest daughter that she should take chemistry the next year, and that daughter would go ahead and teach her. And that is a huge change from somebody who's just going to take the class as a means to an end, to trying to convince your next sister she should take chemistry and that you will help teach her. And that was that passion that overflowed from this woman who gave of her time and served our co-op and taught and shared her passion of chemistry. And so we have resources available to us. We just don't know where they are. And I prayed and prayed and prayed to find a chemistry teacher. I don't know how many hours of prayer I spent trying to find a good upper level math teacher and a good upper level science teacher for our co-op because it was a huge need of mine for my daughter and a concern. And he was faithful to bring the right people at the right time. She went on to teach her advanced physics, and my daughter did wonderfully in that as well. And she was able to take her upper level sciences that she wanted to take that I felt very ill equipped to teach. Well, I also had another friend come and teach upper level math who I would never have known was a math person. I knew her from story time at the library. And so we were moms with kids and didn't really talk about some of that stuff. And she had a background in math. She had served in the military, and just an amazing woman with all these accomplishments behind her. And she was good at it, and she loved and cared for the kids, and taught our upper level math classes that I was definitely ill equipped to teach because math is my weakest subject and very intimidated by the upper level math courses. So you can teach your children and homeschool them through high school. We have so many resources available to us where we can reach out to other people and even businesses and get internships or apprenticeships for our kids. And we have tons of homeschooling curriculum available to us that's better than what's in the public school. When I taught in the public school, my principal allowed me to bring my homeschooling curriculum in because their curriculum was so inadequate and lacking and old and containing false information. And so we just have so much available to us, and the homeschooling community is so generous and giving and loving. And we all, when we reach out, help each other. And I love that about this community. I'm so thankful that we chose to homeschool our children and got to be a part of this culture that I never knew existed. And it's just amazing. And so I wanted to encourage you moms who maybe aren't homeschooling yet or are just starting to homeschool, or maybe you've been in the trenches for years and you're kind of burnt out and needed to be refreshed and reminded, or you just need some other ideas because your child is struggling in a certain area and you needed new ideas for what to do, or you're intimidated by homeschooling through high school or with children with special needs. I just wanted to encourage you that there are resources and things available to you out there. And one last resource I just wanted to throw out there is, after years of prayer and my husband and friends encouraging me and time spent organizing and preparing, I am going to start homeschool consulting as a way to help support our family financially while we continue to homeschool. And so I am making that available. It's there will be a page on our website, which we put out in our Bible study video, and that's lanternmediaministry.org. So if you go to our website, there will be a page for my homeschool consulting, and I can do specialized reading level testing virtually with your child. I can help you assess the needs and interests of your child so that I can then make tailored curriculum suggestions that meet the needs and interests of both you and your child, which is also very important, so that you as the mom and the teacher are being refilled and refreshed by what you're doing and engaged and encouraged by what you're doing with your children every bit as much as they are. And I can also help you establish a schedule and a routine. So I just wanted to thank you all for letting me share a little bit about our homeschooling journey and experience. And hopefully this has encouraged and edified you.